bars on this platform. It also brings you the schedules of the vessels that are bringing your cargo into the port, plus many more if you get a copy of the Business and Financial Times. As well, tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. on GH1, an abridged version of this program will be aired on that platform. Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television, an abridged version should be aired over there as well. Today we're going to talk about the contribution of the haulage transport industry to the transit trade, particularly in these times. We've had COVID, we've had the borders closed. We want to look at the impact and all of that, and we also have the continental free trade coming in. We want to look at how well has the haulage industry or the transport business positioned itself to ensure that they help this country take lead and also be able to relate with our counterparts in other countries, particularly the transit countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and all of that. That's what we're going to assess this evening. You have to join us if you're interested in this particular business. I have to announce, though, that the President will be speaking at 8 p.m. We'll be handing over to that platform as well. In the meantime, His Excellency the President of the Republic has sought for the commencement of the BOANKRA Inland Port Project. Very important assignment. Let's take a look at it. We'll be back.
President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana AKUFO-ADDO, has cut short for work to commence on the $330 million BOANKRA Integrated Logistics Terminal Project, popularly referred to as the BOANKRA Inland Port Project, which has been on the drawing board for about 18 years. The concept of the BOANKRA Inland Port has been a common discussion in the port industry of Ghana. It is an initiative of the Ministry of Transport acting through the Ghana Shippers Authority. The concessionaire, Ashanti Port Services Limited, a joint venture of Efum Quality Limited of Ghana and DSS Associates of the Republic of Korea, is expected to design, engineer, finance, procure, construct, operate, and maintain the project and transfer title to the government after a 30-year period. The BOANKRA Integrated Logistics Terminal Project is intended to augment the positioning of import and export services closer to the doorstep of shippers in the northern part of the country, improve the operational efficiency of the existing seaports in Tema and Takrade, and facilitate greater intermodal linkages with Ghana's landlocked trade partners in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. The CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Benonita Bismarck, said significant employment opportunities will be created through the inland port supply chain, including export processing, warehousing, transportation, and receipt and delivery operations.
These objectives are still largely tenable, and it is my hope that the BOANKRA Integrated Logistics Terminal will deliver these and more for the benefit of our country.
The Minister of Transport, AKUFO-ADDO, said when completed, the 413-acre port facility space would automatically create a commercial hub in the middle belt of Ghana through the establishment of logistics and supply chain system around the terminal.
Promote technology and skill transfer to strengthen the local resources structured for our development and to create the much needed employment opportunity for the people of this country.
The Minister for Railway Development, Joe Gate, indicated that the BOANKRA Inland Port will be served by a new modern standard gauge rail network.
As I speak, negotiations have commenced with a German Ghanaian group to develop a line which will start from Tema, go through Kotoku, come to Achiasi, from Achiasi come to Kede Etiwa, and at Bososu meet the line which is coming from Accra to Kufodwa to BOANKRA to Kumasi.
The President of Ghana, Nana AKUFO-ADDO, said the massive project, which would be delivered within a 3-year period, is a part of government's grand plan to develop an efficient intermodal framework that spurs Ghana's transport sector onto world-class levels.
An important aspect of our country's agenda for development in the transport sector is to establish an intermodal framework where rail, ports, riverine, and other pipeline transport projects complement each other.
Well, so that's one project that's definitely going to help the trade between us and Burkina Faso and other transit nations as well. And I noticed that my guests who are already seated, including very important personalities from Burkina Faso, are very excited about the project. There's also another project that's going to also benefit this particular trade line, and that is the PAGA truck park. The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, together with other agencies, have decided to refurbish and make that truck park the best, so that those who cart goods and cargo from here to those countries will be able to do that in a very serene environment. Let's take a look at that as well.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority is reconstructing the truck park at the PAGA border to bring relief to truck drivers and state agencies working at the border. Hitherto, the existing truck park was in a very deplorable state, especially during the rainy seasons, with instances recorded when trucks overturned due to the poor nature of the existing ground. GPHA thus sought to provide a long-lasting solution to this problem and offer a suitable truck park for the use of its transit market. The 30,165 square meter project, which is 85% complete, is expected to have facilities such as fire hydrants, light mast base, and cable ducts for the future installation of light mast, sanitary facilities including washrooms, an ablution area, and prayer shed for the convenience and use of the truck drivers and other visitors to the truck park. There will also be the installation of razor wire rolls on the truck park fence wall for enhanced security and drainage improvement at the entrance to the truck park. Speaking to Iron Port, the representative of GPHA in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, David Songotu, decried the deplorable nature of the truck park, adding that a lot of accidents happen from the truck park to the PAGA town, which makes the whole place blocked.
In fact, the truck park, this place was full of dust during the dry season, and if you had stood here during the dry season headed to this pavement, you wouldn't have been able to stand for a minute. In fact, the custom officers and all customers, and mostly trucks, even fall. During the rainy season, it's even worse.
He stated that the idea of constructing a truck park started when a delegation from the Port Authority visited the area to witness the poor state in which the truck park was. The engineer for the project, who is with Possible Agencies Limited, contractors of the project, Ronnie Ablakwa, said the project will be completed in November 2020.
This park is designed to contain almost 200 trucks. Yes. So in all, after we are going to demarcate for the parking of the trucks, at least to ease traffic. So we have places where the cars will turn and then places where the cars are permanently parked.
He said the pavement has been done to last for several years due to the heavy loads the trucks carry. The Principal Revenue Officer and Second in Command at the PAGA border for the Customs Division of GRA, Agbeku Akrobeto, was enthused about the project and described it as one of the largest parking sites for the trucks from Ghana to Burkina Faso.
It's one of the largest, cargo parking areas you can find anywhere at the borders of Ghana. It's one of the largest, even larger than the one on the other side of the border at Dakola. A very magnificent thing.
So another thing that's disturbing the trade on our corridors, quite often we hear the transitors, the truck owners, the truck drivers complaining bitterly about harassments coming from security personnel on the corridor. The Port and Harbours Authority decided to take inspection on that corridor to assess the current situation. Let's look at that again and we'll be back.
Following incessant reports of alleged harassment and extortion by members of the Ghana Police Service on transit truck drivers along the transit corridors of Ghana, the representative of Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to the Sahelian regions, David Songotu, has led a GPHA team to investigate situations on the ground as well as find solutions to them. The road trip was across the northern regions of the country, particularly the Upper West region and the Upper East region. The GPHA team also interacted with drivers across the corridor to ascertain their specific challenges pertaining to the trade across the Ghanaian corridor.
Across the border has here from to Obecha Burkina border from Ermokono. So Buku has here bare bie ni kwambio ekopim se obesa pie firi bokena ofri akra etu ambele hase bare ugu kwam more than 200 police officer bi obeduru bia ohia sika firi wa nya sika mawa was a packet.
The team engaged some police officers at the various checkpoints to sensitize them on the need for them to facilitate the movement of the transit trucks instead of harassing them. David Songotu, the GPHA representative to Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger, said the economic operators in especially Mali and Burkina Faso have complained repeatedly of police officers extorting amounts as high as 10 cedis per checkpoint from drivers carrying cargo cleared from Ghana's ports to the Sahelian countries. According to him, these add up to create a bad impression that the Ghanaian corridor is expensive, and this is unfortunate as Ghana's port authority has ensured to provide incentives that would woo importers and exporters from the landlocked countries to use Ghana's ports.
To discourage these people on the street, on the road, on the corridor, by collecting the small money that they do, especially after Techima, where every other stop they need to collect 5 cedis, 2 cedis, 1 cedi, 10 cedis by the police. It adds up to say that Ghana corridor is expensive compared to the other corridors.
He said it is rather unfortunate that these alleged unprofessional members of the police service do not recognize the importance the transit business has on Ghana's economic development.
So if we do our collective responsibility, everybody wake up to do that. This is what I'm going to contribute for the development of Ghana in the area of the transit trade. There's huge millions of money through the transit trade. And that is why countries are not sleeping. And Ghana should not sleep and allow these stakeholders to do what they are doing to discourage the trade.
David Songotu assured the transit truck drivers of GPHA's commitment to curbing the ongoing injustice. He advocated for an increased sensitization of the police service as well as other relevant stakeholders so as to put an end to the harassment and extortion of transit truck drivers on the transit corridors of Ghana. In a related development, the Upper West Regional Police Commander, DCOP Francis Abuajenakon, has given his word to the transit community to bring an immediate stop to the incidents of harassment and extortion by police officers on drivers using the transit corridor within his jurisdiction.
In my jurisdictions, I will assure you that from today, there will be a significant improvement.
He made this vow during a working visit of a GPHA team who embarked on a problem-solving mission on the transit corridor to minimize the reported harassment and extortion on the corridor. DCOP Francis Abuajinyako said, in addition to holding his officers more accountable, he would collaborate with the various regional commands to ensure the holistic and effective approach to end the problem of police harassment on the corridor.
The commands need to be sensitized. And especially, you can share their phone numbers. Where things of our forward nature is being done to them, you can be called.
He added that he has also instituted an escort regime that is intended to provide security to transit drivers and cargoes during their use of the corridor against crime.
So I found out and realized that because the environment is vulnerable, there is a need to police them to the barrier, so we can hand over to our counterparts on the other side.
David Songotu, the GPHA representative to the Sahelian countries, expressed optimism that the regional commander's efforts would be a successful one that would eliminate the discomfort transit drivers feel using the corridor. He also said initiatives such as the escort regime would go a long way to woo more economic operators in the Sahelian countries to use Ghana's ports.
We'll be back shortly.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goal Super XP Run 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goal Super XP Run 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goal Super XP Run 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goal Super XP Run 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Oh, how are you?
Hi Yvonne, a few words please. Everyone is talking about the fire at your production house last week. How are you holding up? Has production stalled?
No, not at all. My crew and everyone on my set is perfectly fine because I insure with Serene Insurance. As a matter of fact, I've had all my equipment replaced, including the vehicles that were affected. My workers have been sorted out. Even my production downtime has been covered. So it's all good. I have a meeting to attend to, so I have to get going. Sorry about that.
Which insurance company did you mention?
Serene Insurance, the new face of insurance, a member of First Sky Group.
Sa coronavirus yare no yare a sign pa. So obi nya bi na se opo wagu so ana se obinti gu so a utumi nya yare ni bi.
Okadi ni bahani onaka oyehila ekoji. Ohe banye do. Oba wulo. Ogo bahunu. Oba chine. O jamba wohe. Oba na sen kaka. Mekme musunchon. Mekme nuni enihi.
Coronavirus infection, the symptoms can range from mild, one of it being asymptomatic. Asymptomatic just means that you may not have any symptoms at all, and the disease process can gradually worsen to be a severe form, the severest being ultimately death.
We are expected to sanitize our hands when our hands are not visibly soiled or you can't really see dirt on your hands. If you can see dirt on your hands, the best thing to do is to wash your hands with soap and the running water.
If you're using any of the cloth face masks, always make sure you have a rubber bag ready to receive it when you remove it, or you have a bowl of warm soapy water in which you can place the mask and wash. Wash your mask, dry in the hot sun for at least 5 hours, and apply heat by way of ironing.
Utiliser les ports de Tema et de Takoradi, c'est avoir un traitement rapide et sécurisé de vos marchandises diverses en conteneurs, en sac ou en vrac, ainsi que tous vos véhicules en transit. Le Ghana a construit un parking bien pavé pour tous les véhicules en transit. Une nouvelle gare frigorifique pour le stockage de la marchandise congelée en transit. Avec un nouveau centre de traitement de données construit et la mise en œuvre efficace d'un guichet unique national qui permet aux données d'être accessibles par tous les intervenants, le traitement des dossiers dans les ports du Ghana est maintenant efficace et plus efficient. Utiliser les ports du Ghana, c'est profiter des systèmes de portes électroniques et d'exploitation des terminaux ainsi que de la réservation des navires en ligne, entraînant ainsi un parc de camions fiable pour un acheminement de vos marchandises dans les brefs délais avec un suivi satellitaire jusqu'à nos frontières.
Les femmes, à vous les honneurs.
Les ports de Tema et de Takoradi célèbrent la femme. Que les bienfaits de cette célébration apportent plus de bénédictions.
To the program, we are talking the contribution of the haulage transport to transit and as well as the entire continental free trade that we have been talking about, the whole Africa has been talking and dreaming about. My guest in the studio is Monsieur Sherif Ouedraogo. He's the Burkina Faso Chamber of Commerce representative in Ghana, more or less the country's trade rep in Ghana. Monsieur Sherif, good to see you.
Thank you.
And I'm happy that you are in the studio at this time, especially when I gave you a very short notice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Samuel.
Yeah. And then also in the studio is Mr. Frank Opon, who is the project logistics manager with John Moore International Limited. Mr. Opon, good to see you as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Ibrahim Musa is executive secretary of the JAPTU. Maza Ibrahim, what's the full JAPTU? What's the full meaning?
It's Joint Association of Port Transport Unions.
Okay.
Yes.
Who are you?
Okay. Thank you very much.
More or less, I have started with you because I wanted you to explain your association for a lot of people to know who you are, because you've come in the news for quite some time now.
Yeah, true. Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity and a great job you're doing for the industry. Yes, the JAPTU Ghana, JAPTU Ghana actually is the umbrella body of all transit, inland transport unions operating from our ports. Yes, the decision to have an umbrella body was inspired by the fact that for some period we had a proliferation of a number of transport unions and associations, in which the increasing numbers also came the challenge of how we can be engaged and how we put across our views together as a collective entity, and how we actually work together exploiting our comparative advantages and then working together and transform that into a competitive advantage. And fortunately for us, GPHA, and we must always say this and also be thankful for the efforts of Madam Esther Jebidonko, who actually led a reform process to ensure that we had in place a good constitution, have the right structures, have the right processes, a system that will make us a competent transit trade facilitator in Ghana, delivering competent and reliable inland transit haulage services that meet international standards, that are ethical, that are reliable. So now
you are reformed.
Yes, very much reformed, and we think that the reformation just happened at a time where there is growing multilateralism, and the best way to go is to come together. Even if as a continent we are exploring the options and opportunities of working as a free market area, then how do we survive if we continue as individuals, smaller transport owners? So we are always very grateful for the GPHA and the Ghana Shippers Authority for leading the reform process. We now have in place a constitution that is solid enough, that is responsive to the dynamics of the industry, that ensures that whoever holds the realms of the authority of JAPTU will be in the position to deliver services that the sector can rely on. Yes.
Yeah, and I emphasized on the reformation because you said it and hit it right on the head that this is the best time. We are heading towards heavy competition with neighbors and all of that, and people would want to see you on a very unified front to be able to help us as a country achieve what we intend to do. So what plans have you put in place now with all the things going on? What are your plans going into the future?
Yes, our plans first and foremost going forward is to put in place, we have deployed strategies that will harness our advantages and promote partnerships and working together in sort of delivering our services as individual units. We are also trying to lay the right conduit to engage our relevant duty bearers so that we can make informed policy inputs when decisions are taken concerning the sector. Unfortunately, we can't stop thanking GPHA and the Shippers Authority for the doors they opened, because when the ECOWAS monitoring team came around somewhere last year, I think in May or so, we had the opportunity of meeting the team, explaining the challenges we are having, especially the non-tariff barriers to trade within the West Africa corridor and how those can be resolved. Yes, we have also put in place programs that would ensure that our constituents have proper welfare schemes. You know how the informal sector of the transport industry in Ghana is arranged. We want to lift it beyond that crude informality to a level where we can have structured, standardized benefits that would push our members towards greater professionalism to an extent where we can run a system that is competent enough within the level of informality, doesn't support the kind of industry we want to operate, especially looking at the kind of feature that the continent is craving for. So JAPTO is strategically positioned to offer this level of cutting-edge logistics management and inland transit haulage services, and most importantly to protect and promote the welfare of our members.
Because you had a very fractured frontage in the past, and because of that you were confronted with a lot of challenges. I recall that some time back, you know, we could see a lot of scuffle between some of you and sometimes your counterparts from the landlord nations struggling over cargo sharing and things like that and all of that. What are the specific challenges at the moment that, now that you see yourself well reformed and with all these plans that you have outlined, what are the challenges confronting you that you hope you will be able to resolve as quickly as possible before January 1, when the entire continent will be trading together?
Yes, I just wish you didn't even mention the scaffold, because this is
you want to put that behind you?
It's actually a blight in our history that we have put behind us. Now we have united, we are rallying around the JAPTO Ghana agenda, and we have everybody on board, and we have our duty bearers also constantly monitoring us, and the doors are open, we are able to engage them. The essence of this exercise is to make them understand that we stand to benefit if we are together. Even if at the continental level, a country with all the sovereignty that we have, we still the need to belong to a union so we can benefit. How would it work to anybody's imagination, our benefit, if we work alone? So the vision of coming together for us was the only route towards remaining relevant. And we have taken full advantage of that opportunity as presented by GPHA and the Shippers Authority. And as we speak right now, we have participated, and for us also, one of the signals of or the benefits of being together is that we are now recognized and we can be invited to participate in these policy processes. So the BIAT subcommittees that were formed by the Ministry of Trade, yes, the Boosting Inter-African Trade. You were part? Yes, we were part of the Trade Facilitation, you understand, committee, and we made very relevant input. And for us, even the approach towards moving into the operational stage of AFTA is encouraging for us, because we are being carried along. We are making the input that we can make, no matter the scale of it. At least we have a voice. We are able to understand the processes that go into some of these arrangements, and working with our landlocked neighbors. Yes, we have had some issues with the cargo sharing arrangement. You know, we have some bilateral understanding to share cargo in a 1/3, 2/3, where they pick 2/3, we pick 1/3. As a result of a combination of several factors, including the fragmentation of our funds, then these bilateral agreements couldn't be enforced properly. But thankfully, GPHA has given some directive which took effect from the 1st of October this year to see to the return of those arrangements. They are also having some meetings with our partners just to ensure that this operationalization is done seamlessly, so that we have the port here, at least we don't see the cargo coming and going when we are not benefiting fully from it. So this was just a little challenge that we had, but I'm sure that the authorities are more than competent in resolving them, because what we have seen so far is very encouraging. We just want to assure our members that we are working with systems that trust us and that are willing to leverage us to become very efficient in the system. So
we'll come and assess with you. We'll come and assess the transport sector and the way forward shortly. But Frank, John Moore, who are you?
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. John Moore International Limited is an indigenous Ghanaian company specialized in transport and project logistics, with global partners and affiliates in West Africa, the Asias, the Americas, and Europe. Our scope of work include expert project logistics management, general haulage, that is conventional cargo and oversized cargo, international freight forwarding, warehousing, storage, and craneage.
So for an organization like yours, how are you positioned in terms of supporting and promoting haulage transport or that particular sector when it comes to trade within our corridors?
John Moore, as I mentioned, we specialize in general haulage, conventional and over-dimensional cargo. We have a lot of fleets that move specialized cargo. If I say over-dimensional, that's OOG, abnormal loads, that requires special types of modular trailers and then low beds. What we do now is we position ourselves very well by investing in a lot of fleets, specialized fleets, where the likes of the big transport companies, if they have to move, let's say, big dimensional cargoes to and from the sub-region, we are rightly positioned. We have manpower enough and then technology to do that sort of moves. We have a system where we are able to track and trace cargo right from moving from the port to the final destination. We have a special tracking system where we can monitor, unlike the individual transport that he mentioned, where when a transporter loads cargo, it's even difficult to locate where exactly he is at a particular time and at a particular moment.
I see. Let me come to Mr. Ouedraogo. We'll come to you again. Mr. Ouedraogo, how's Burkina though? The current security situation there and all of that?
Yeah, security situation, we have security in Burkina Faso. So for that I need to thank the initiator of this program. I would also like to acknowledge the dynamism of the Ghana private sector and hence its economic. It must be noted that the Burkina Faso Chamber of Commerce is an institutional spokesperson of the Burkina Faso business community. It has been established in Ghana since 1993. That means that is a partnership of more than 25 years, and particularly with the GPA, Ghana Port Authority, to enable to supply of goods to Burkina Faso.
And the reason I asked you about the current situation in Burkina Faso, that not too long ago we had, or we heard of some insecurity situations, some difficulties here and there. Is a place back?
We are managing. We have a political stability in Burkina Faso.
On the corridor as well, not long ago we had of some security situations along the border. That's also sorted?
No,
for the sake of those who ply that route with cargo and all of that.
We have to tell that significant efforts has been made by the Ghana authorities to improve the transit condition, and I can state the following: the valuation of the cargo, which therefore prevent physical contact between the client and custom to avoid the publicity of corruption. We have the automation of GRA custom declaration with the implementation with UNIPAS.
Okay, I'll come there, Mr. Drago. I'll come there shortly. Okay. I would want to assess the corridor from the transporters, and then I'll come back to you again. Okay. Let me find out from you, Musa, Ibrahim. What's your assessment of the corridors now?
Well, I'm sure we all agree that if you compare it to the situation maybe in the past 10 years, you would definitely say there has been some improvement in terms of the infrastructure. However, what remains significant in terms of barrier is the non-tariff, the barriers that we have, issues of checkpoints. Yes, the subject of checkpoints have been a very thorny one for those of us involved in the inland haulage, the transit haulage, in the sense that moving from Tema to PAGA, for example, you would count, let me be generous, not less than 50 checkpoints. These things also delay the transport of goods, and then at each of these barriers also, you have illicit payments being also collected. These also go to add on to the cost of the services that we render. And then we also believe that in terms of the infrastructure, the roads that we ply on, there are significant portions of it that can be improved much further. You have issues where shoulders of our roads are not good enough for a vehicle or a haulage truck to veer off and park safely if there is a problem because of the design of the road, and all of that are significant impediment to the free flow of transit cargo. And that in terms of security, we will say that generally in Ghana we have been very safe, and going through to Burkina Faso and other places we haven't had any issue, except that unfortunately somewhere last year we had an incident, I think in Mali, where two of our comrades were caught up in a crossfire of some militants, and we lost two of them. But generally we think that the countries along the corridor are putting together significant effort to continuously and incrementally remove these barriers to facilitate trade, except that those of us at the operational end will always wish that things work further. But we also understand that there are severe challenges that have to be overcome in dealing with these issues. But generally we would say that we are not in a bad place, but we can be in a better place.
Okay, so you talk about the infrastructure, and then you talk about the security, which you say, you talk about the barriers, the non-tariff barriers, but you say security is also.
Another significant thing is the apparent lack of coordination in the implementation of regional or sub-regional transport policies. Let's take the axle issues, load regime issues. This is also a significant challenge, but most of the time those of us managing institutions from this point want to look at systems that are in place to correct these things.
And what are some of the systems you want?
We think that the countries along the corridor are communicating enough. There is some ways of evaluating the challenges, and we believe that with time, especially with AFTA, we have a better opportunity of better converging, working with harmonized standards, and getting to deploy systems that will be more seamless in operation. So these, we believe, are some of the opportunities that the current dispensation might provide to make transit haulage more friendly to our kinds of systems and what we desire moving forward.
And Jomo, what have you been assessing? You have a system that's able to monitor movement from here all the way to the other side, and all. What have you been able to assess?
Yes, one major issue I want to bring on board is the language barrier.
Language.
Yes, as you rightly mentioned, you can count not less than 50 barriers from Tema Port to PAGA or Hamley, one of the exit points. Now, just imagine a truck driver get to a point where he has no clue about English language, and our team also over there can only speak English. What happens? It leads to delays.
Yeah.
The next thing is alleged extortion. So we need to improve. Our stakeholders need to train a few of our customs guys and then the police who can speak a bit of French to assist as we are going to this after, where we are looking at free flow of goods and then movement of personnel.
So you're saying that the security folks who are along the corridor should be bilingual?
Exactly.
Oh, I see. But okay, so that if you take customs, and we know that effort has been made to remove some of the barriers, some of the custom barriers from the corridor. So the remaining ones are the few ECOWAS approved ones. You're saying that are those barriers, the officers who are there ought to be able to communicate with those who use the corridor, exactly. And that includes our neighbors who speak French.
Sure, exactly. For free flow movement. If they get there and they don't understand French, what happens?
Yeah, but you have police barriers, and you talked about police barriers that are about 50 and more. It's even more. We the piece that just played not long ago talked about way more than that. And you're saying that those police folks who are assigned on the corridor should be fluent in the
barriers. They need to do away with them.
You mean the police barriers?
Yes, we need to be reduced drastically. Drastically. For security's sake, we have checks and balances. Yeah. But then there are too many and impeding movements.
Yeah. That we will deal with in extenso, because there's a piece we will play back. That conversation has gone on severally with the hope that those barriers will be removed, but the police keep making cases that for the sake of the security that for instance Ibrahim is touting, their officers ought to be on the road. That's the argument. We will talk about it and then see whether indeed it is justified and how best we can deal with it. But assume that they are there. You are saying that every security officer that should be on that road should be bilingual.
I'm not saying every person, at least a bit.
Yes, okay.
So that they can communicate easily and allow free flow of goods and personnel.
Okay.
Crossing.
Okay.
Within infrastructure, Ghana has positioned itself very well for this after coming. Previously, our ports, I think we have the maximum draft of 11.6 meters. Now the expansion, we can do 60 meters. Yeah. And then we are able to receive more volumes. Yeah. We stand at an disadvantage point where we are the only Anglophone country surrounded by the likes of Togo, Cotonou,
3 countries,
and then Abidjan. So we need to do a lot more to be able to receive more transit rate. For example, if you go to Ivory Coast, there's a railway that goes straight into Burkina. We are on the verge of getting to that point. So we need to speed up with the rail aspect where it can increase volumes. Let's say you have about 20 silos on the rail, it's able to move a lot of volumes up north.
So we heard about, and just before this discourse, we heard about the BOANKRA, for instance, the railway minister also giving some hope that the rail lines along that stretch is also coming up and all of that. How do all those development play in for instance, where you're talking about preparing the infrastructure for trade between us and the neighbors?
But it will shorten the transit time. Once all these things are in place, let's say if it's plus or minus 3 days to the borders, and you can do 2 days, it reduces, you have 1 day reduced. Then your total transit time to Burkina, if it's supposed to be 5, you are doing 3. It makes you move more cargo up north than probably staying that length of 5 days.
Okay.
So with the improved infrastructure, it's going to improve and speed up the transit rate.
Okay. Mr. Adrago, now back to you. Represent the Burkinabés. Give us the sense of the trade between the two countries, Burkina and Ghana. What's the performance like? How are we doing together when it comes to trade?
So, we are there, that we are in Ghana, Burkina Faso Chamber of Commerce since 25 years here in Ghana to improve the corridor. I need to congratulate the GPA because we have many performance. The sufficient effort have been made by the GPA to improve the transit corridor, the condition. We have the valuation of the cargo, we have the automation of the GRA custom declaration, creation of the transit container terminal, and we have always the trade mission carried out by GPA to find out about the concerns of the Burkina Faso importers. So we are talking about the challenges, the language barrier. You have to have the absence of the bank to allow safer operation in Ghana.
Okay.
This is a
the presence of banks that can help for you to trade in safer in Ghana.
Yes,
is that what you mean?
yes, because you know the importers of Burkina Faso have to use safer to do the
trade.
operation to trade in Ghana.
At the moment, you are not able to do that.
Yes, we use cedis and dollars.
Okay.
So if you say the rent, we can lost a lot of money.
What difference? How soon do you think that is needed? What difference does it make now that you are using only cedi and dollar to operate? Because I'm thinking that if we don't get that service as soon as possible, what do we lose?
We lost money. If you carry the safer to Ghana, you have to convert it in cedis or in dollars. You have to lost money for that.
Okay, so it makes cost of doing business for your people who use the safer to trade in Ghana expensive. Is that the case?
Yes, it's expensive. It's expensive. You know, we have we get the joint meeting between the government of Burkina Faso and Ghana, 2018, and this case. We are talking about it to resolve the situation. We have a good relation, and in the high level, we are talking to know how we can get a safer bank in Ghana to improve the corridor again.
Okay. Aside getting a safer bank in Ghana, is there any other alternative? Is there any other option that can be done between you and then the agencies around the port to allow you trade with safer aside the bank?
I tell you that we have the challenges. If you take the barrier language, if you take the safer issue, we use more the corridor, the Burkina Faso importers. You know, we start at 1993 with like 500 metric tons. Now we have 1 million metric tons. Ghana port to Burkina Faso. So if you need to improve more the corridor, we have to take off these challenges to allow the safer bank in Ghana.
In terms of improving the language barrier, what would you also suggest again?
You know, the government of Burkina Faso and Ghana government have a good relationship. And Burkina Faso Chamber of Commerce and GPA have a good relationship. We have a joint meeting, and we introduced to request the heads agreement for Chamber of Commerce to play more its role in Ghana. So we are waiting for this signature for Burkina Faso Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, but I wanted to find out that if you heard from Frank, for instance, he suggested that we need to improve the language. The security officers on the corridor need to speak French as well. What would you suggest that we can do to improve the language now that we hope to trade more? We want to increase the trade from 1 million to 2 million and maybe 3 million. Or Frank, is that not what you want?
I think
we want more of that.
It's the two cents, you know the Ghanaian, Ghana country. You have Togo at the border, we have Burkina Faso, and you have Cote d'Ivoire. It's a francophone country
surrounding us.
Yes, I don't know why the Ghanaian don't speak French, but if the francophone people come, they
like
have
you,
to, like me. I try to speak my English. You know. So it's very important. You know, Burkina Faso Chamber of Commerce is a public institution. We can get an agreement with like Ghana Chamber of Commerce. We have a good relation partnership to get a school, you know, where the Ghanaian can learn French, and where the Burkinabe can learn English too.
Particularly those in the trade supply chain.
To improve this language. To make sure that Ghanaian can go to Burkina Faso to do business, to get a business relationship. To go to Togo, to Mali, to Niger. It's not, you know, business is in our country, ECOWAS country, you know. We can do business between our countries. You know, Ghana like to go to London, to USA to do business, or the money is here, around here.
That's why we are having this discussion. We want to know how we can do it here, because that is the aim. The aim or the vision of the continent now is that from January 1st, all of us should be able to trade among ourselves well. So Monsieur Ouedraogo's country that you represent in Ghana, for instance, is going to be, we are going to frequent there. So we need to know how we can address all the issues. So take away language, take away the safer bank in Ghana. What else would you want to see improve? Maybe what about the transport sector where Ibrahim works, for instance?
The transport sector, I think we have many efforts. The institution did efforts, the government did efforts. So it's a dynamic. It's dynamic, and we have to improve the relationship between the partners, Ghana, and the another country like Burkina Faso, because Ghana is developed, the infrastructure is very good developed, and we have stability, political stability, economic stability. So we can work with Ghana, and Ghanaian can work with another countries.
Okay.
I would want to touch on something. I think technology is very key to this AFTAC issue. As my colleague said, they're trying to improve to get more as a united front to present a case. What we are doing to get an advantage over the other competitors is, let's say there's a tracking device where we can give access to our customers to even log in and track their cargo way from the port till it's delivered. So once they have a united front, and Burkina customer can sit in Burkina to have access to his shipment, moving from Tama port till it's delivered, why wouldn't they come for us?
So that assures security of the cargo.
Exactly.
Okay, that is being used by the...
It's a live track. We give you access. At any time, you log in and you're able to track. So it's delivered to you.
Just to add to that, as a union, we also have in place systems to monitor and prevent cargo diversion, which is an issue. You know, just recently we had to alert the customs of an attempt to divert transit cargo using our drivers, and this you can achieve when your drivers are properly sensitized, when your drivers are made to understand not just the civic responsibility they have towards their country, but also the professional and ethical aspects of ensuring that cargo entrusted in them is delivered safely and also timely. We as a union are working with our drivers and are working with our owners to also ensure that the fleets are also renewed, you understand, because if you look at the average ages of our fleet, that is one of the challenges we may have when it comes to resilience and moving forward, especially in an integrated market as we're looking at. This is where we also are trying to engage government to look at vehicle renewal schemes that would help our members replace their vehicles, so that at any period we have a reliable stock of vehicles. Currently, in terms of capacity, we can say we have overcapacity. But in terms of quality, we think
are not in good shape.
We can do much better than that. And for us to be able to compete very well, it's important that we look at the stock of vehicles, and this is what we think JAPTO is able to also do for our union, because this is a conversation that we have initiated with the relevant duty bearers, just to ensure that when the market is finally opened and competition is left for people to choose who to work with, obviously these softer issues will come into play. And if we have to survive, government will have to support us and give us the leverage we require in renewing our stock, our fleet of vehicle, in terms of competence, in terms of our ability or understanding of the terrain. We think our personnel are very competent, but we need to work on our stock of vehicles, which is one of the key things JAPTO will deliver to its constituent, and ultimately that will also translate into how we benefit from the economic returns of whatever AFTA can give to us.
And how do you want this renewal scheme to go like?
Yes,
what form does it have to take?
We don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. These are schemes that have been piloted elsewhere. I think if we take the case of GPRTU, it's one of the examples. Government had some guarantees of vehicles, or even if government can waive the duties that apply to certain types of vehicles we use or the parts. These are all things that will make it easier for our operators to be able to acquire vehicles. But we think one of the things that can help is when government institutes a scheme that has maybe a 10-year revolving arrangement, where a certain stock of vehicles can be brought in very good shape, and we receive as a union, we give to our members to operate, and there is an arrangement for these funds to be recovered. Then at any given time, you can vouch for a Ghanaian transport operator, because we'll be running with fleets of vehicles that are 5 years or longer. And these are all things that we think will put us in a better position, because geographically we are gifted with where we are. You understand? And we think that is something we need to exploit very well. But this can be exploited when we are having the right kind of conversation. And all of these things may not accrue as benefits if we don't rally around the JAPTO arrangement. This is why when all players accepted to come together,
it was a good thing.
We realize that this is the best thing that can happen to the industry. Yes.
I'll come back to Mr. Udrago. I want to know how tall we stand, Ghana stand, in terms of doing business with Burkina Faso. Compare for us the trade between Ghana and Burkina and that of Burkina and Abidjan, or Burkina and say Lomé or Burkina and Lagos. What's the performance like when you compare us, Ghana, with the others?
No, before to give you this response, I need to come back with about the diversion. The role of Burkina Faso Chamber of Commerce here in Ghana is to monitor all freight operation in transit to Burkina Faso and ensure that all goods leaving the port platform actually arrive to Burkina Faso territory in better condition. Because we are working with the custom, we have a good relationship. So, come back to you. You know, we have many opportunity in Ghana. We have a businessman of Burkina who needs really to come to know, to get business in Ghana. But, you know, this language barrier, this safer issue, that one we are there to link the both of the businessman to do business, because this language they need to go more in francophone people like Togo, like Cote d'Ivoire to do business. But we have many opportunity in Ghana, and we have opportunity in Burkina Faso too, who Ghanaian need to take advantage and do business.
What are some of the things we are doing right that we can improve? The things that we are doing very well that Ghana, if you say among Abidjan and Togo, we are number one, and so we can improve on it.
Yes, we have to. We have the agriculture product. Agriculture product is business, very good opportunity. You know, we have the government and Burkina and Ghana. We have the railway project. To facilitate, to improve trade between the two countries. If this project is done, I think it will be good for both of the country.
Okay. John Moore, as a private person sitting in the middle, getting ready, what are some of the things you are looking at in terms of taking advantage of where Africa is going now, to say we are creating that, and so can take advantage of it going into next year?
Okay, so for customers to have confidence in you, to give their cargo to you to deliver, first of all, we have goods in transit that covers anything that we carry or transport to and from. So let's say if we have to pick anything from the port, it's covered with our goods in transit, which means if anything happens to your cargo, it's insured. As I said, we've improved in technology, where we have live track for customers to be able to monitor or track their shipment right from the port till it's delivered. And we have manpower, improving manpower. We've brought on board efficient people to carry out these jobs.
Do you see us as a country, in terms of the haulage sector, well prepared to compete fairly if we have to do so from next year?
Yes, I see ourselves. I see we prepared, because let me use an example of a mine. A mine sitting in Bisa will have full confidence giving its cargo to a Ghanaian company who has enough expertise, enough equipment to move his heavy duty or whatever flatbed from Tema Port to Bisa mines, and they know it's going to be delivered on time and then in good condition.
Have you begun marketing some of these advantages and some of these innovations, some of these opportunities out there for the other markets within the region to know that this is what we have?
Yes, as I said, we have upgraded our website. We have affiliates all over the world.
Are you doing B2B, regular, physical, beyond, online talking and websites and all of that?
Yes, we've upgraded our website with the number of fleets that have been improved. As we speak, we have...
No, I meant physical.
Physical. Because of the COVID,
okay,
the face-to-face interaction had to be halted a bit. But as the COVID is opening up, we are doing that.
Okay. Yes, Jatu.
Yeah, just to add to that, one of the things we also think puts us in a very good position to take off in January is having institutions like JAPTO. There is a greater opportunity to coordinate the activities of players in the sector from a central institutions like JAPTO. Beyond that, we know our members, we have deployed some forms of sensitization. There is adequate awareness of what is about to happen, and we are taking advantage in strengthening the kinds of partnership that we have. The beauty of what we see ahead is the willingness of our institutions to prop us up to move and meet the challenges ahead. But as an industry, we are more confident now than we could ever be, because we believe that with this integration, there is going to be greater effort at working together to remove some of the barriers that we are confronted with over the years.
Okay.
And we think that if we stick to the plan, if we work together, we can achieve this, because as people, we are also expecting to put together a force, because we have the opportunity of a stable country, peace, economically, like Mr. Sheriff mentioned. Economically, politically, we are safe, and we have a crop of people who are energized within our rank and file to be able to deliver the service that is expected of us. And we believe that JAPTO has worked well with the institutions to ensure that our members understand what is coming. And as an industry, you know, the private sector of our transport industry in Ghana, we have survived too many things that are thrown at us. So for us, a challenge is always welcome, and we believe we can do better even within the AFTA arrangement.
You have a tougher
what I need to add, and I think it's very important. You know, the Union of Africa creates 2019 the free area, free trade area, and I think Ghana. Ghana, we have the headquarters of the permanent secretary in Accra. That's very good project to improve business between African countries.
Good. The number that you can contribute, if you want to share your thoughts with us, WhatsApp is 055901 9177. The number that you can call is 020-552-8353. And I have some text messages I will share with you. But let me find out from you the agencies, the other agencies around the industry that you work with. What are the levels of collaboration you are getting from the agencies? And do you think that it ought to be improved for your businesses, and how?
The port authorities and the other stakeholders, the shipping lines and the terminals, need to improve, give better incentives to facilitate transit.
What do you mean by incentive? Better incentives?
An example is, let's say, a container that is supposed to go on transit. You have 21 days demurrage free.
Okay.
And you need to pay a deposit not less than $2,500.
Okay, that's for the shipping lines. Demurrage is for the shipping.
Sometimes if you have about 20 containers by $2,500, it's something very huge.
So demurrage fees ought to be looked at.
And then other, let's say, if they can do insurance in place of the container deposit, that will also help. Because you pay a premium, but not paying the total, let's say, $2,500 by 10, reducing the amount you have to cough for deposits. And also the ports should give incentives.
Okay, I think that's it. For your side?
Yes, for our side, we can only...
You have praised a lot.
Yes, we can only be grateful, and like legendary Oliver Twist, we can expect more. But for now, we are very satisfied with the kinds of collaboration, the kinds of effort that is being invested in us to make us more relevant and then more ready to deliver on our mandate.
Mr. Ouedraogo, what about your side? The collaboration with the other agencies, what sort of...
Our collaboration is very good.
Good.
Yeah, very good. With all the partners in Ghana.
Okay. Yeah. So you think that it set us on a very good footing for improve trade when we get into the future. This one says, hello, Mr. Ajuman. I'm Nathaniel. You people are doing a good job, but please, I have a problem about some of the shipping lines. They should get more banks, because before you pay, their payment of an invoice to bank, it takes you 2 hours. After the payment, you come to the shipping line to take payment receipt, and also take another 2 hours. And it's very bad. They should do something about that. This one says, my name is Abdul Malik. I work with Bolore Transport and Logistics. As much as we anticipate increase in metric tons between the two countries, I think, and the two countries I'm sure you're referring to, Burkina and Ghana, I think we need to look at creating a well-designed and appropriate parking space for Burkina Faso trucks. We need to create avenues that will motivate them to do more business with Ghana. That is Abdul Malik's take. But Mr. Udrago, we just saw the truck park, for instance, in PAGA that's been put together by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Is that good enough for you?
Yes, it's good.
Okay,
it's good.
Okay, because Malik wants a truck park, a better truck park. Is there any other thing that you want? The port, for instance, GPHA, there's a very
at the border or inside the port.
Well, he didn't say, but are you satisfied with the facilities you've got?
Yeah, we have.
Good.
Now we have some, because we have project at the. We got to it GPA.
Yes.
To get an area to do a truck park at PAGA.
Yeah.
And we have some place inside the port.
The port as well. Yeah. So I was wondering what Abdul Malik was talking about. This one says, "Good evening. How are you, Ghana? I got your number." Okay, that's another one. We have a caller on the line. Who do we have? Good evening. Hello, good evening. Abdul Malik, I think I just read your message.
Yes, I have sent a message already.
Yes, sir. We just read it. If that's it, I hope you are answered.
Yes, I've been answered. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. What about COVID? How has it affected your business? You move on the corridor.
You know, COVID, one of the most obvious impact it had, especially at the onset, was the effect it had in the closure of the world's factories. That affected the volumes that could be brought to our ports. But then the implementation of the protocols in terms of prevention and management protocols also meant that there has been significant delays at the ports, because then now you have to go through some additional protocols in checking to see if you are COVID-free. This resulted in some also significant cost for transporters, because we had to invest in our own PPEs, unlike what happened in Southern and Eastern Africa, where the regional blocks took care of cost of testing and PPEs. I think at the regional or sub-regional level, there wasn't that much coordination in terms of a regional or sub-regional intervention, and that left us to operate on our own.
So you provided your own PPEs?
Yes,
for the
we
drivers.
had to provide our own PPEs, and also
but at the borders they got tested?
Yes, and then you had to just go through the prescribed protocols at the borders. And what also happened was the fact that these additional checks also increased our turnaround time, and that for us was also some additional cost for us. So these are
additional checks. I mean the COVID testing on the way.
Yes, okay. And then the delays that it created and its knock-on effect meant that you delayed much longer in getting to your destination and then coming back, and these were quite significant for us. But it's beginning to look better, and we believe that 2021 would be more promising and less incidents recorded as we experienced, especially at the onset of COVID.
Jomo, you monitored COVID from your side as well, and its impact?
Yes. There was lack of
the border closure and all.
Lack of demand for transit services, meaning low business. Mines closed, other service providers closed with skeletal staff, meaning little business to do, and that forced some of the companies to lay down, make some unemployment, make some staff go home, whilst we see an improvement in. Fortunately for us, we didn't do that, but other businesses had to do that because there were no businesses, and it affected revenue, and it affected almost everything.
Okay, so if you're in the haulage industry and you intend to contribute to how we can improve and hold up this particular sector to improve transit as we get into the continental free trade practice from next year, you may want to share your thoughts with us. 055-901-9177, and the number you should call is 020-552-8353. And we have Emmanuel on the line. Hello, Emmanuel.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Please, I want to know the JAP2 guy. Do they have any office in Tema where we can contact them?
Any office where?
In Tema. Do they have an office in Tema?
In Tema. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, we have an office in Tema. We are just behind the agency building. Yes.
Agency building.
Building, yes. That's where we are. Just around the police station, the port police station, the route that crescent leads to the agency block.
Okay.
We are just
so
behind
you've got
the
a number
block.
and all that you can display.
Yes,
what's your contact?
yes. You can reach us through 020-055-0300.
Okay.
Yes, and we also have a website that is www.jap2ghana.com.
Okay.
And can you so access that by email at info@jap2ghana.com.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Drago, COVID, how did it affect
COVID
commerce between
affected everybody and
Burkina and Ghana,
and
but the trade between us, how did it affect it?
Yeah, because with this COVID, to supply the goods, they take long time.
Yeah,
take long time. We lost time to do the business.
Yeah. Do you have some numbers? Have you been able to assess in terms of statistics, figures, what the difference in trade? So if you take the first 3 quarters of 2020 compared to the first 3 quarters of 2019.
No really affected the statistic.
Okay. It hasn't really affected the statistics.
Yeah.
Okay. We have another caller on the line. Alhaji Zakari is on the line. Hello, Alhaji. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, Alhaji.
Hello?
Alhaji, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to contribute to the program ongoing.
Please go ahead, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you. The problem. Yeah, the problem of trackers.
Hello, Alhaji.
Yeah, the problem with the trackers.
Alhaji, turn the volume of your set and please talk to us because we can hear you speaking through your television.
Thank you very much. And the problem with the trackers is there's so many police MTTUs.
Okay.
In every town, you see about 3 MTUs in every town.
I see.
Besides that, we have so many barriers on the way.
Okay.
I thought maybe the Burkina Faso man will also point at that, but he didn't.
No, because we are coming to that now. Okay. We are actually coming to play a video that reflects that, and that's what we'll discuss right after your call.
I have traveled to other West African countries, including Chad, and my experience over there is they don't mount barriers waiting for the distance, but they move. If you go to Burkina Faso, northern Burkina Faso to Kanchari, you see the gendarmes on their distance, on their vehicles and motorcycles running up and down. Some will be going through the north, some will be coming through the south. But here in Ghana, the police mount a barrier and they say they are looking for thieves. And when the trucks pass the barriers and there's a problem there, if anybody comes to call them, they will cite the problem of no fuel know what and what in their vehicles. So I think it's in Ghana too. If they will start allowing the patrol teams to be going up and down, it will be better than mounting the barriers, and all that they do is, we know what they do, they also know what they do. They take money. Okay. So that's the problem. Try to tackle that one for us.
Okay.
So that our free flow of goods and services along the border without any problem.
Thank you, Alhaji.
The police are giving vehicles so that they will be moving up and down. The robbers doesn't have a particular place that they operate.
Okay.
So that the police will find them with the element of surprise before they know the police are on them. But if they know that the police are at this barrier, they will also go in front and then mount their barrier and then do what they want to do, and then within some seconds they will move away. So that is my little contribution.
We thank you. We thank you for your contribution, Alhaji Zakaria, for that. But the solution he preferred, I think you are familiar with it. The suggestion he's trying to make, we are going to play. Explain it.
Yes, if I understood him, what he's saying that unlike the case in Burkina Faso where the gendarmes are not stationary, they don't create barriers, they move along the corridor, and that if it is the essence is to provide security, that is more efficient because they move along the corridor instead of the practice in Ghana where you have multiple roadblocks. That delay, that means you have to stop, you search, you start, and you go through that. But in Burkina Faso, they are rather patrolling the road to ensure that you are safe to move. And we think this is a practice that can be adopted.
Yes. Let me find out, Monsieur Drago. So is that what is being done? The gendarmeries move, you know, they patrol on their trucks or their cars and then their motorbikes instead of stationed?
Yeah. You know, the security of the corridor, because we use more this corridor, the corridor of Ghana, Burkina. We have many volume who go along a corridor. So we have the security who move, but they don't stay
at one place.
At the one place.
Okay.
To many places to control. Many control no.
Okay.
We just move to.
That's a very good practice and alternative that you have provided. And I say this because way back, I think 2014 thereabout, the Ports and Harbours Authority met the then IGP, and I'm sure that they are showing that on the screens now. They met the then IGP, who suggested that it's important that, yes, we let goods move. And so the police officers should move away from, you know, having the barriers and all of that. There was a directive to that effect. Let me just play that to you, and then we will come back and look at the alternative that you have just suggested.
Okay.
Swift and non-shilly-shally manner, and based on its own video evidences as well as persistent reports, the Ghana Police Service, led by the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan, has directed that with immediate effect, policemen along the economic community of West African states' transit corridors should not conduct any checks on transit cargo and, quote, any police officer or officers found to have gone contrary to this directive will face the full rigors of the law, unquote, the directive warned. The joint committee, chaired by the National MTTU Commander ASP Awuni and facilitated by the Director of Operations of the Ghana Police, COP Kudalo, and the Director General of Public Affairs, COP Ampabene, have also agreed that the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority and other agencies will lead the way to organize sensitization workshops for all regional police commanders and their deputies, divisional and district commanders of the police, and the MTTU of the police, as well as the transit truck drivers and traders. In addition, Borderless Alliance, West Africa Trade Hub, and other stakeholders on the joint committee will be engaging in other sensitization programs to make the Ghana corridors the best place to do business ahead of its competitors.
It is the responsibility of customs officers to check documents of those items, not police officers. And I have several times told police officers they don't have the right, except somebody has given you information that probably that vehicle coming is diverting, and so assist.
According to the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Service, 82% of revenue generated by customs to government comes from the port of Tema. It is in line with this that the move by the Ghana Police Service to call their men to order in order to protect the port business and the country's revenue-generating source is commendable and worth emulated by other agencies to grow the port business and make Ghana the gateway to the sub-region. This was a move way back then, I think 2015, early part of 2015 thereabout, and then it was IGP Al-Hassan, and then the late Awuni also was in the thick of affairs at that time. Why didn't this work for you and for everyone?
You know, for us, part of the problem is always the disconnect between the policy and the principles behind it at the top and its implementation at the bottom. You find it difficult to understand why a police officer would not understand a directive which is as clear as was stated in the video. What we have had reports of several times is that this issue of checking the cargo has been used as an opportunity
to extort,
to harass, and to create unnecessary delay. We have instances where transit cargo encounter a challenge at a point. The regulation is clear. You move to the nearest custom point, make a complaint so the cargo can be monitored, the issue is resolved, because they log in the time, and then when it's cleared, you go back through the process and you are taken care of. Let's say it happens around Kintampo, and you have to go to somewhere, maybe Techiman, they tell you, no, this system doesn't work here. But per the education or the information you have received, this is supposed to be a visible, seamless arrangement that you can take advantage of. But they create a certain erroneous impression that it cannot work here till you go far. Hopefully you ask for a favor, and in the process you open yourself to all kinds of extortion. We think that the police service can do a greater job in making sure that their effort complement the bigger investment that the GPHA is making into opening our ports, educating,
and then the country going with the Africa, the region, and having a free trade area.
We need to have a police service whose effort is more complementary towards promoting trade instead of the current positioning where they are seen as antagonists to drivers and other
Let me pick
users
from
of
Tamale, and then we will deal with, and we're going to have the police folks the next season, so it would be easier to talk about how they from their side they can also. We had Nuruddin from Tamale. The line dropped. Okay, so this one says, please, I think the development of inland container depot, dry port, and intermodal transport would help in reducing the volume of truck fleet in our roads and significantly reduce turnaround time in transport. I think Ghana should and the landlord countries should intensify their efforts in developing the rail infrastructure and the inland dry port. Indeed, it has been on the drawing board for far too long. This is Eric from Antwerp Port sent that one. This one wants to know, he says, okay, that's the question doesn't work. Jomo, at this point, we are now requesting that, and I remember that some of the engagements with the police, the problem had been that, okay, we are providing security, and that is a good thing. That is what everybody is touting. So we can't take the men off the road. Sure. The men ought to be on the road. But here we are saying that when the men are on the road and they have barricades and blockades, they create some atmosphere that gives room for extortion. Somebody is suggesting that they should patrol. What difference would that make? If the person is patrolling, they can still stop you and still collect whatever they want to collect from you. Whether that's barricade or patrolling, what difference would that make?
Yeah, that's a very good point. So, as I said about technology, in the video you can see, you can hear the police commander saying it should be resolved by customs. Now with ICOMS, it's almost at every station. So it means if there's an issue on the road, the best place to resolve it is to get to the next customs point.
Okay.
Now, that is where we are positioned in a very good position to get this resolved. So in case there's any issue along the way, because of our monitoring system and our tracking system, we're able to get to the next customs office.
No, what issue are you talking about? For instance, the police officer meets a truck driver and says the driver is wearing slippers. The driver doesn't have a legit license and says you have to produce your license. This is a fake one. How can electronics or how can technology help in this direction?
I was talking in terms of the cargo. The cargo issue.
What about the cargo?
Okay, the tracking system, maybe they have an issue with the truck where probably they need to work on the tracking system or get customs to assist to resolve a cargo related issue.
Okay, that is
where
clear.
I was going.
Yeah.
But with the police, I think it's all about education. When you have a driver or you're moving with a fleet who are well educated, I don't think the police can harass them if they are in the right PPEs.
No, but they've been stopping them, right? They've been stopping your folks.
So, he claimed that they are now getting, our team of drivers. I don't think you get any of our members driving in slippers or without PPEs, without
So,
white
are you saying that the drivers ought to be spoken to also to do the appropriate thing and not to give themselves up for some of these rules?
There is no way a John Moore truck will be sighted on the road with a driver driving a slippers.
How do you do it? What's the secret?
We have proper monitoring system.
Like how? Like what? So that others can learn.
Okay. So, for example, you go to other transport companies. You see a driver igniting before he puts on a seatbelt. In our facility, you don't even try to put in the key without a seatbelt.
Okay.
You make sure you run full PPEs because it's mandatory and they are trained.
Okay. So is it the case that we also have to begin to sensitize? And there's a video again where we spoke to the police as well, who are on the field, who claim that you meet the hauliers and the driver is wearing slippers, he's not wearing shirts, he doesn't have a license, and he's still using the corridor.
With all due respect,
hold on to that. Then let me just pick this call real quick. Hello, Nana. Do we have Nana? Hello? Okay, we have a bad line. Let me read this one coming from SIC. It says, I want, to add my words, and I said, with respect to the trading in CFA, and it's talking about, Mr. Odrago, the trading in the CFA. It is important that CFA accounts are allowed. This will enable truck carrying transit goods to more early once they are released from the port. This will prevent the excise of parking alongside the roads with the excuse of waiting for CFA. So some of the difficulties that come with not having, the opportunity to trade in CFA. That's what he's also talking about. Nuruddin from Tamale, then I'll come to you. Hello, Nuruddin.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
How are you, my brother?
Very well, thank you, Nuru.
Yeah, I'm speaking from Tamale.
Please, go ahead.
We have a problem. Drivers have a problem.
Okay, go ahead.
Our roads. Okay. Our problem is you will see MTTU around 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and this our road. So I don't know whether is it right. And this our barrier too. From Kumasi to Northern region here, 53 barriers. We have a copy. From Tamale to Bolga, we have 17 barriers. So we are pleading. We are pleading. Okay. This our we have a hardship at this our road. So I just plead our IGP and then this our government. Drivers are suffering. So we are pleading that to let the thing make suffering for us.
Okay.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you, Nuru. So these are some of the things we are trying to resolve, especially if we are embracing this vision of trading among ourselves. The complaints are just enormous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just to add, if a driver moves his truck from Tema and gets past, let's say, 20-25 checkpoints before getting to Kintampo. And then next to Kintampo, there is somebody who stops the same driver that he claims you are in breach of some regulation that he is not able to articulate properly to you. The first to the 24th that you went through, if indeed these checks were properly standardized and were complementary enough and genuine and sincere in its intent, do you believe that somebody could escape all of these things to get to that point and only to be stopped? We have had too many reports, not by our drivers alone. There have been instances where sub-regional missions have gone incognito on some of these things, and they realize that, look, much as the principle is to ensure security, we are all for it, because we are safer when we know security is guaranteed. But when these security checkpoints are used just to harass and extort from us, and we have too many instances of that to report.
Interject because Nanaya from Kumasi is back on, and I've kept him on the line for a while. Hello, Nana.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Go ahead.
My name is Nanaya Wusu, Ghana Holy Transport Drivers Association, National Chairman speaking.
Okay.
I appreciate my panelists where they are talking. As for the police, they are not saying that you don't want the policemen to work, but policemen, they are there for our security. But their security tend to we the drivers indicate as granted, even at all. When any driver read the checking point, he will demand something from him. But as the people are working, it seems like we turn to the thief. You get my point. So we want the police.
Okay, I think we lost that line. Now you can continue. I hope I didn't break.
See, at the end of the day, what we're saying is that the police, without, for want of a better expression, the police should be more professional and stick to the rules of their work on the road. See to it the protection. We have other practices in other jurisdictions, like Mr. Sheriff clarified for us. We can deploy all of that.
But that's what I was asking you, that if you have, and I'm coming to Mr. Sheriff shortly, if you have the police, and this, we need to also be able to prefer some solutions to the police. Then they can buy into it, because I recall that COP Kofi Boache, for instance, said categorically that they are not going to move men away from the streets. And he's been vehement about that, because that is what keeps the security, brings the security, which we are all happy about. And to a large extent, one would want to understand that. But how do they keep the police or the officers on the street without the harassment, the accompanying harassment? Do we opt for what is going on in Chad, like the gentleman said, or what is going on in Burkina with the gendarmes patrolling instead of having the barriers? Will you be satisfied with that? What difference would that make?
We see, for us, any operational plan that would ensure that the objective is provision of security, but not creating a situation to be taken advantage of to harass drivers.
So what option do you think can help?
For example, if the multiple, the patrolling for me, the patrolling I think has proven to be more efficient, because one, you don't have too many stops, and then two, I think it frees up other policemen to do other duties, because if you have, let's say, 5 policemen in a van from point A, another 5 from point B, who are just running per whatever strategy they are using, as against having 3 policemen cover a certain distance, I think the running of the police on the route will be a more efficient approach, so we can have policemen free to do other policing work instead of having these countless police barriers that there to do other
because
things.
the reason why I want us to know this is that we have also heard from your people that even you move from one place to the other, and there's a policeman who was sitting in a motorbike. He met you in Techiman. The same person will come and meet you in that place, Akomadan or somewhere. The same person. So, will the patrol solve any problem as we are finding solutions?
You will definitely meet some certain bad nuts. Some of the police people are very good. They do what they're supposed to do. They check the right things. But it has to board on the drivers, the training you give to them. Let's say if you know that when you do this, you flout the law, you wouldn't do it. And once a policeman capitalizes on any little thing that you
can raise a red flag.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is it not the case that your folks are also doing the right thing? And now that JAP2 is reformed, what are you doing to ensure that slippers, chaluti, dress code, everything is not proper?
For us has been an unfair characterization of our drivers. We are not as crude and unprofessional as people make us look like. These are very responsible people who have been in the trade for years. You understand? If the police wants to dispute what we are saying, they keep record, they keep statistics of the kinds of infractions that they stop. They should bring that for us to discuss. What are the kinds of infractions that they
for instance, we don't have time
use.
to play the videos, but there have been issues of fake license. And the last time we went Burkina Faso, that's what they raised it. They said you have fake license sometimes, you don't use the appropriate license. How are you going to ensure that your folks have the legitimate document so that, you know, once a man stops you and everything is legit, do you think he would have a cause to collect a penny or two from you?
You know what? We have had engagement with the National Road Safety Authority. We constantly sensitize our drivers. And from time to time, the Shippers Authority has been doing a great job also bringing customs, the Road Safety Authority to sensitize us. Last year, October, we had one in Takrady and then another in Tema. All of this. And for us, now we are also keeping a database. We are in the process of deploying a platform to also send what we call counter reports of incidents or cases by which the police stop us. The situation is that we think the police is overly
making excuses
for their effort, and we think we have gotten to a point where the police have to re-look at their positioning and their policing methods to ensure that...
But are you also, now that you are reformed, do you have a mechanism, and after this I'm coming to Mr. Drago, do you have a mechanism to check all your members, what they have, the documentations they have, and their dress codes? Like he mentioned, Jumbo, they have PPEs, they have particular dressing, you don't move without wearing a seatbelt. These are proper standards and practices that if you put in place and a police officer stops you with all those fine posture, I doubt that, you know, they would have a case to extort.
Part of what we are also doing is to expand our disciplinary committee to ensure that once police stop you on a legitimate infraction, something that you ought to do, which you didn't do, there are internal sanctions for you beyond what the police will actually
That's
take.
good to hear. That's good to hear. Mr. Drago.
So I need to add something. You know, where we have the business, along the corridor, we have many goats who is moving. Security is a challenges for, you know, we have many actors. We have custom, we have SIC, we have Burkina Faso Chamber of Commerce, GPHA. The security, the police is for what? It's for the goods or for the drivers?
It's for both. They say it's for both. The human being and
if it's for the both, we have the control inside the port. Already with the customs, with SIC who give all the documentation, Burkina Faso Chamber of Commerce to clear the good, to take the road.
Are they saying
I agree that security is a challenge, but we have to reduce the checking point.
To
reduce the checking point to facilitate
the movement.
along the corridor.
Okay. Would you say that the practice in Burkina, which is the gendarmes patrol, is effective, which we can adapt in hybrid? We may not move all the barriers, but say make it about 10 or 5,
yes,
and then leave the rest to be
Burkina,
patrol or something.
You know, we have a organization, the drivers organization, all the members.
Yeah.
It's not possible for a driver to take a truck in Burkina without license or fake license to drive along the corridor. No,
okay.
It's not possible. That one, the gendarme, the police, it just patrol, because where we have the business, we have the criminal practice, just to know if to make sure that the corridor can be safe to move the goods.
Finally, to you, Mr. Ouedraogo, do you think this is an important impediment that ought to be removed as soon as possible before we commence the regional or continental trade?
We have too much, several checking points, Tema to PAGA. You have to reduce the checking points to facilitate the movement along the corridor.
Jomo.
Yeah.
We need to improve on the checks. It has to be reduced drastically. And also, I'll say, training the drivers, giving them the right training, and then if they're on top of their jobs, I don't think you have more issues.
Yes, for us, we also believe that institutions need to coordinate their interventions, and we must all understand the object that we are seeking to achieve, so that the system is insulated from being taken advantage of by some miscreants in the system.
Okay.
I think that's what we should be looking at. But I think one very important thing GPHA did was the introduction of this load-worthy inspection.
Within the port, before you step out.
You understand? And these were some additional checks, very important, to ensure that beyond being roadworthy, you were also load-worthy. And all of these things are done, and if a track is cleared through all these processes,
what's
do you believe that a policeman will say you don't have sleepers, you don't have that? I think that there are institutions that are doing hard work to get trade to be facilitated, but I think the police is not one of the friends of trade facilitation, to be very honest.
Okay. International port news.
Doing a good job. That we have to say. We can say for them, you're doing a good job.
The United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on 30th October 2020 issued a framework for conditional sailing order that introduces a phased approach for the safe and responsible resumption of passenger cruises. The new order establishes a framework of actionable items for the cruise line industry to follow so they can resume passenger operations, with an emphasis on preventing the further spread of COVID-19 on cruise ships and from cruise ships into communities, and to protect public health and safety. The order applies to passenger operations on cruise ships with a capacity to carry at least 250 passengers in waters subject to U.S. jurisdiction. 9 Chinese and Filipino seafarers, some of whom have been on board their Panama-flagged cargo ship, Briar Faith, for 20 months with no leave, will be reunited with their families after an intervention by the Australian Maritime Safety Authority. AMSA inspected the ship in Port Alma, Queensland, on 2nd November 2020, where inspectors verified that 3 crew had been on board for over 12 months, 4 seafarers had been on board for over 16 months, and 2 crew had been on board for over 20 months. The owners, Tianjin Shongzheng Zhuan Shipping Company Limited, requested that the seafarers remain on board until the next port, Shanghai. AMSA did not accept this proposal due to the length of time the seafarers had already spent at sea. Romanian-based Damen Shipyards Galati has launched a 3rd island-class hybrid electric vessel for Canadian ferry operator BC Ferries. The vessel is part of a 6-vessel order for BC Ferries and will perform environmentally efficient inter-island ferry services between Vancouver and Vancouver Island in British Columbia. The new builds are battery-equipped ships designed for future full electric operation. The ships are fitted with hybrid technology that bridges the gap until shore charging infrastructure and funding becomes available in BC. The Republic of Korea and the International Maritime Organization have signed an agreement to establish a 4-year training program to support developing states to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from shipping. The creation of a new training program coincided with South Korea's carbon neutrality pledge announcement. On 27th October, Ketak Lim, IMO Secretary General, and Song Hik-moon, Minister of Oceans and Fisheries of the Republic of Korea, signed the agreement for the $2.5 million Sustainable Maritime Transport Training Program, also known as GHG SMART. The training program will focus on least developed countries and small island developing states and help them to develop their capacity to achieve the goals set out in the initial IMO strategy on reduction of GHG emissions from ships. Fleetmont Maritime News has reported a confirmed attack on tanker Nefeli 2, some 120 nautical miles south of Bonny, Nigeria. The merchant ship, which was en route from Lagos to Douala, Cameroon, was attacked on 4th November 2020 around 0600 Coordinated Universal Time. The unknown pirates are believed to have looted the ship and fled. As of 0700 Coordinated Universal Time, it was reported the vessel was still adrift, but automatic identification system was still working. Crew are reportedly safe after they managed to hide in Citadel when pirates boarded a tanker. The vessel is reported to be underway since 10:30 Coordinated Universal Time.
Okay, so as we're wrapping up, this one from a police officer obviously says positioning of the police on our roads is strategic and must not be compromised because of haulage drivers. There are instances drivers give their cars to spare drivers or mates who are unlicensed. We need to keep the police for robbers as well, he said. Then this one says, good evening, sir. Please, as you address the issue of the police and the drivers, don't forget to talk about the overloading of the trucks, which is damaging our roads. For example, now there are cargoes on the road which length are equivalent to that of an articulated truck. Cargoes have to create extra driven axles so that they can carry more load. We will continue to share your conversation wherever, other platforms that we always have to discuss some of these issues. And I hope that we've been able to bring the issues closer to you. My guest in the studio, Ibrahim Musa, is Executive Secretary of the Joint Association of Port Transport Union of Ghana, JAPTU Ghana. Frank Opong is the Project Logistics Manager, John Moore International Limited, and Monsieur Sherif Oudrago, Burkina Faso Chamber of Commerce representative here in Ghana, whom I have promised that by the next time he comes to the studio, I'll be speaking French with him. Monsieur, thank you very much. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming. See you same time next week.
All right. Thank you.